Jagdtiger still used the same engine as the standard Tigers, the Maybach HL230, which was already overstrained. Not surprisingly, it was even more unreliable, propelling the much heavier tank destroyer. In warfare, when you meet a new threat, you need to develop a bigger threat to counter it. And the Jagdtiger's gun was prompted by the arrival on the Eastern Front of the Soviet Union's new IS, or Joseph Stalin tanks, which had frontal armour up to 120mm and carried a terrifying 122mm gun. Knocking out these tanks called for a major piece of ordnance, and Krupp's new gun offered superior tank-killing capability at extreme ranges over 2,000 metres. It actually fired two-piece ammunition, with the charge separated from the projectile itself. Since conventional fixed-case rounds would have been impossibly long and heavy, this meant that not one, but two loaders were necessary, raising the crew to 6. With a full charge and firing the standard 26.4 kg Panzergranate 39, it had a muzzle velocity of 880 meters per second and could penetrate 167mm of sloped armour at 1,000 meters, and 117mm even at 2,000 meters. But when it came to taking punishment as well as dishing it out, the Jagdtiger had few worries. The front had armour of between 100mm and 250mm, and even the side armour was 80mm thick. Even with its 122mm gun, the IS-2 would have to get closer than 1,000 meters to stand a chance of doing damage to the Jagdtiger's front. Access to the vehicle was pretty good. On top, there was a commander's hatch and a loader's hatch. The driver and radio operator had their own hatches, just like the tanks. And a large two-piece door in the rear of the superstructure allowed further movement and also removal of the gun for maintenance or repair. Now, the interior is not complete, but it gives us a great idea of the organisation and the layout. Across to the left, we had the gunner's position, and across to the right, we have the commander's position. You can also quite clearly see the stowage racks running down the side. Now, of course, there were also two loaders, positioned left and right of the main armament. They had to have easy access to the ammunition. The reason being, of course, the ammunition is by no means lightweight. The final two crew members, the driver and the radio operator, were situated up the front as in a normal tank. Coming as it did right at the end of the war, the Jagdtiger was never going to make a strategic difference. Only 85 were built and even fewer saw service. By the finish, most Jagdtigers had been put out of action by mechanical breakdown rather than enemy fire. As just one example, the only unit ever to have a full complement of Jagdtigers, Heavy Tank Destroyer Battalion 653, reported 42 serviceable Jagdtigers on the 23rd of January 1945. A week later, one of them had been knocked out and 19 others had broken down and were under repair. But where they did manage to engage enemy forces from an ambush position, they could do tremendous damage. In one engagement, 3 Jagdtigers destroyed 25 US tanks and tank destroyers without a single return round penetrating their armour. So, at the end of the day, it was once again a case of too little, too late. Although in the case of the Jagdtiger, it should probably be too much, too late.